My beloved child, before you saw the door open with your own eyes, I had already heard the trembling cry of your heart in the long nights no one knew about. There were times when you thought you were merely passing through quiet, meaningless days. But it was precisely in that silence that I was laying the first stones for the new journey you are about to enter. I never allow a single tear of yours to fall in vain, nor do I let any sincere prayer disappear into empty space. I have heard your prayer and seen your tears, as I once spoke in 2 Kings 25. What you call waiting is, in truth, the time in which I have been quietly preparing a gift greater than anything your heart had ever imagined. Many times you looked up at the sky and wondered whether I still remembered you. But my beloved child, how could the one who created you ever forget the breath shaped by his own hands? Before you knew how to call my name, I had already called yours. Before you walked upon this earth, I had already seen the whole journey of your life. Not one moment you go through is outside my sight. I have loved you with an everlasting love, as in Jeremiah 31:3, and that love is never diminished, not even once. When you were weak, I was still there. When you were disappointed because doors closed before you, I was quietly keeping you from stepping into places that would wound your soul. There are things I did not allow to happen, not because I had abandoned you, but because I was protecting your future with a hand wiser than all human understanding. So today I want you to stop seeing yourself as a lost soul in this vast world. You are not invisible before my eyes. And even when you yourself sometimes do not recognize the light you carry, I still see it shining in the spiritual realm. The prayers you whispered in loneliness reached heaven. Perhaps you once thought I was silent, but my silence has never been indifference. Sometimes I remain quiet, only so that your faith may take deeper root, just as seeds buried beneath the earth seem hidden for a season before they break open into life. Your soul is also being prepared for a season of blossoming beyond anything you have ever imagined. Remember the widow of Zarephath in the days of Elijah, when drought covered the land. She had only a handful of flour and a little oil left. All hope seemed to have faded, yet it was precisely in her moment of deepest lack that I opened the way for a miracle. She chose to trust my word instead of surrendering to fear, and that jar of oil did not run dry until the rain returned to the land. You are the same, my beloved child. There are times when you look at your life and see only limitations, but I see the abundance waiting to be released. I am not limited by your circumstances. I do not need perfect conditions to perform a miracle. What I seek in you is a heart that can still hold on to faith in the days that seem most empty. Even now I am working in things your eyes cannot yet see. There are encounters I am arranging. There are doors I am quietly opening. There are answers you thought had come too late, but in truth, they are drawing very near to you. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for harm, as in Jeremiah 29:11. I am not leading you in order to lose you along the way. I am leading you to the place where your soul will be restored and your future will be opened. What is coming is not punishment, but renewal, not an ending, but the beginning I have prepared for you long ago. My beloved child, do not let your heart be stolen by fear. The enemy always wants you to believe that you are too small, too late, too wounded to be used for something great. But I once used young David with a simple sling to defeat Goliath. I once used Moses, who thought his speech was inadequate, to lead an entire nation through the Red Sea. I did not choose you because you are perfect. I chose you because I see what you will become when you place your hand in mine. And when I call someone, I also give that person strength. When I open a way, no power on earth can shut it. I know there are nights when you are so weary that you only want to let everything go. There are moments when you pray, yet your heart is still full of confusion. But even then, I am still sitting beside you. I do not despise your weakness. On the contrary, the place where you are most broken is often the place where my light can enter most easily. My power is made perfect in weakness, as written in 2 Corinthians 12:9. Do not be ashamed of your tears. Some of the most beautiful prayers are not spoken with the lips, but by a heart softened before me. Then the day will come when you look back and understand that every winding step carried meaning. The closed doors saved you from the wrong paths. The seasons of waiting made your soul more mature. The times when you thought you had been forgotten were actually the moments when I was writing the most beautiful chapter, one you did not yet have the vision to read. Just as Joseph had to pass through the pit and the prison before entering the palace, You too are being led through a process so that you may become stronger and wiser. Nothing I allow to happen is meaningless. So now, let your heart be at peace. Do not run ahead of me in anxiety, and do not stand still in fear. Simply take each step with trust. I am before you, behind you, and right beside you. My arm has never left your life, not even for a single moment. What I have promised, I will bring to pass. What I have begun in you, I will complete at the most beautiful appointed time. And when the door I have prepared to open appears before your eyes, you will understand that every tear, every prayer, and every season of waiting has been leading you to this sacred moment. The moment you realize that you have always been loved, always been chosen, and never once forgotten in my eternal heart. My beloved child, let your heart become still and receive what I am whispering in this moment. For not every encounter between you and me comes with thunder rolling across the heavens. Many times grace enters very gently. I do not call you near to condemn you, nor do I bring you into this moment to place another burden upon your shoulders. I come as a merciful father bending down beside the child he loves, to place a new hope in your hands, to rekindle in your eyes the light that had once been dimmed by difficult days. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest, as written in Matthew 11:28. And today that word is not far from you, but is opening right before you. Do not be afraid when I invite you to go deeper, because the path I open is not meant to make you lose yourself, but to help you rediscover the noblest part I placed within you from the very beginning. Perhaps you have grown used to living within the limits others placed upon you, or the limits quietly built inside your heart by old pain. But my child, what humanity calls impossible is not my boundary. When the Red Sea stood before my people, they thought they had reached the end of the road. But with one word from me, the waters parted, and dry ground appeared in the very place where there seemed to be no way. In the same way, where you see a dead end, I have already prepared a path. Where you think you are weak, I have already placed strength. Where you believe everything is closed, I am beginning to write a new chapter with the ink of mercy. Therefore, do not rush to compare your journey with anyone else's. Every soul has its own season of blooming beneath my sunlight. The lilies of the field do not compete in beauty with the cedars upon the mountains, yet both are cared for perfectly by my hand. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow, as Matthew 6:28 reminds you, that true beauty does not come from striving against others, but from remaining within my loving care. What I am giving to you does not need to resemble what I give to someone else, because you were not created to be a faded copy. You carry a unique mark, a unique calling, and a unique path that I myself have carved out in eternal wisdom. There is a story I want you to remember. When I called Samuel in the night, the young boy did not yet understand that the voice calling him came from heaven. He thought Eli was calling him, so again and again he ran to the priest. But when his heart was finally guided to answer, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening," a prophetic life began through that humble willingness to hear. Do you see, my child? Sacred moments often do not begin with dazzling displays that capture the attention of the world. They begin with a soul willing to pause, willing to listen, willing to answer me with trust. Today, I am not asking you to do something great before the eyes of others. I only ask that you do not ignore the gentle calling, touching the deepest place within you. The brief moments before you may seem to pass quickly in human time, but in the spiritual realm, a single act of surrender is enough to redirect an entire life. Mary's one word of yes opened the way for the Savior to come into the world. Peter's single step out of the boat allowed him to experience my power upon the water. One touch of faith from the woman who had suffered for many years drew forth healing that the crowd around her did not even perceive. So do not take lightly what is happening within your heart. When you open yourself, grace finds a place to flow in. When you stop closing yourself off because of fear, light finds a way to enter the dark rooms of your soul. I know there have been days when you doubted your worth. There were times when you wondered whether your life truly carried meaning, whether your quiet efforts were ever seen, whether the holy dreams within you would ever come to life. My beloved child, I see it all. Not one good seed you have sown have I forgotten. Not one trembling prayer you have lifted up have I treated lightly. Before they call, I will answer, as Isaiah 65:24 reveals to you that my love always moves ahead of your fears. You do not need to prove yourself worthy of my love, because that love is not purchased by your achievements. It flows from my eternal nature. Now lift up your eyes. Do not allow carelessness, weariness, or the noise around you to make you miss the grace that is passing by. There are doors that do not open through strength, but through attentiveness. There are blessings that cannot be received through haste, but through a heart willing to stand still before me. Be still and know that I am God, as Psalm 46:10 declares. And that stillness is not emptiness, but a sacred space where you can hear my footsteps more clearly. When your heart stops running after fear and anxiety, you will realize that I have been far closer than you ever imagined. What I place before you is not a vague promise, but a confirmation that your life still rests within my plan. The days ahead do not belong to darkness, for I am the one who holds your tomorrow. You will no longer have to live as someone driven by fear, but as one sustained by love. I will teach you to see circumstances with new eyes, to walk with renewed faith, and to embrace the future with a heart that has been healed. When you look back on this journey, you will understand that the very moment you chose to open your heart today became the beginning of a quiet yet profound transformation. So come near to me, my beloved child. Do not close your ears to words of love. Do not turn away from the hand reaching out to you, and do not allow old fears to decide in place of new faith. I have not come to take away your peace. I have come to restore it. I have not come to make you smaller. I have come to remind you that you were created for the light. Receive the hope I give. Receive the strength I pour out. Receive the vision I am opening before you, and within that holy gentleness, you will know with certainty that I am holding all things, that you have never walked alone, and that what I have begun in you will be completed at my most beautiful appointed time. My beloved child, do not let your heart hurry away while the sacred door still stands open before you. There are things in life that are given only to those who know how to remain long enough to listen with their whole soul. When you patiently stay within my presence, every word I speak no longer becomes merely a sound passing through your ears, but holy oil feeding the flame within you, just as the 5 wise virgins kept their lamps filled with oil while waiting for the bridegroom. I am also teaching you to prepare your soul for the new season that is drawing near. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour, as Matthew 25:13 says, is not a word meant to fill you with fear, but a gentle reminder that those who know how to wait in faith will not enter darkness when the sacred moment arrives. There have been seasons when your heart felt dry. You continued to pray, you continued to walk forward, yet deep within you felt weary because you could not yet see change. But my child, my river has never stopped flowing. When you open your heart before me, the living water from heaven quietly seeps into the most cracked and broken places within your soul. Whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst again, as John 4:14 declares, because my water does not merely soothe temporary thirst, but transforms your soul into a spring continually overflowing with life. I do not want you simply to hear and then forget. I want my word to sink deeply into every thought, every wound, and every dream you once buried away, until you yourself are renewed from within. Do not regard these moments as just another passing message among the countless voices you hear each day. There are words spoken by human understanding, but there are also words that carry the breath of heaven. When I touch your soul, it is no longer mere knowledge, but life itself. It is the covenant of love that I have patiently placed before the door of your heart through many years. From the time Abraham looked up at the star-filled sky in the darkness of night until this very day, I remain the faithful God, the one who keeps his promises through every generation. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away, as Luke 21:33 declares. Therefore, what I am planting in your heart today is not something fleeting, but a seed of eternity. My beloved child, the path I am opening before you is not paved with pride, but with peace. It is not built upon deception, but upon truth. I am leading you into a journey where your soul learns how to walk with me, rather than chase after things that quickly fade away. Remember Enoch, who walked with God until the world could no longer find him. The secret of his life was not power or fame, but a deep communion with me each day. That is also what I desire for you, not a life merely filled with religious activity, but a heart truly close to me, so that every step you take carries the light of heaven. Perhaps you once dreamed of great things and later felt disappointed when they did not come to pass. But I want you to understand that truly beautiful desires are never born from selfishness. They are refined through tears, through waiting, through the moments when you continue believing even without seeing results. A seed must remain buried beneath dark soil before it rises into a harvest. Your faith is the same. The prayers you have offered in silence have not been lost. They are growing within the unseen realm. Those who sow in tears shall reap with joy, as Psalm 126:5 declares, and the day will come when the very things you once cried over will become the reasons you bow your head in gratitude. Think of the boy who carried 5 loaves and 2 fish among the great crowd. In human eyes, it was far too little to make any difference. Yet once it was placed into my hands, it became a miracle that fed thousands. You are the same, my beloved child. Perhaps you look at yourself and see only limitations, but I see the potential of a soul willing to offer me what it has. What you surrender with sincerity, I will multiply beyond every human calculation. I do not need your perfection. I desire your trusting heart, and as you continue walking along the path I lead you upon, you will begin to realize that the most precious thing I give is not merely visible blessings, but the transformation taking place within you. The fear that once imprisoned you will gradually lose its power. The thoughts that caused you to doubt yourself will be scattered by the light of truth. You will learn to look at the future not through anxious eyes, but through the eyes of hope. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you, as written in John 14:27. That peace does not depend upon circumstances, because it is founded upon my presence. Therefore, my beloved child, do not leave the flow of grace too soon. Remain long enough for your soul to be refreshed. Let my word soak deeply into you, as rain sinks into softened earth. Every moment you open your heart before me is a moment your soul is being prepared for something greater ahead. There are doors waiting to open. There are promises drawing near to fulfillment. There are harvests quietly growing from the seeds you have sown in faith. And when that moment comes, you will look back upon this day and understand that it was precisely in the moments when you chose to pause and listen to me that a new world began to be born within your soul. My beloved child, long before you came to know yourself, I already saw you among the countless souls upon the earth. My eyes did not rest upon you by accident, but I deliberately called your name from within my eternal purpose. When many people saw only smallness in you, I saw a flame hidden beneath the ashes of difficult years. And, my child, because I see what others cannot see, I have never abandoned you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. As Isaiah 43:1 declares, you are not the product of chance, nor a soul forgotten within the vast flow of life. You are part of a plan I have carried in love and wisdom from the very beginning. I know there have been seasons when you walked through such dry and barren lands that your heart felt it no longer had the strength to keep hoping. There were nights when you remained silent because you were too weary even to pray. There were moments when you looked around and could see no sign that tomorrow would be any different from today. But my beloved child, it is precisely in those seasons that seem lifeless that I am working most deeply within you. A seed does not sprout upon noisy ground. It grows in darkness, in silence, beneath the soil that people often mistake for a burial place. Your faith is the same. The trials you endure are not meant to destroy you, but to drive your roots deeper into me. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life, as written in James 1:12. Remember Gideon, who once hid in the winepress out of fear of the enemy. In his own eyes, he was the smallest in his father's house, weak and incapable. Yet when my angel appeared to him, the very first words I called him were, "Mighty warrior." Do you see? My child, I do not call you according to your present limitations. I call you according to what I know you will become when you walk with me. Gideon believed he was not enough, yet I used him to deliver an entire nation. In the same way, you may be looking at yourself through eyes filled with hesitation. But I see within you a witness of grace, a lamp capable of bringing light into places you never imagined you could reach. So do not underestimate the flame quietly burning within you. Perhaps the winds of life have weakened it at times. Perhaps disappointment has covered it with ashes, but it has never gone out. I am the one who lit that flame, and what I have begun will not be extinguished by darkness. There are souls who live their entire lives without ever knowing what they were called for. But, my child, deep within your heart, you have always sensed that this life must hold a meaning greater than mere existence. That is the calling I placed within you. It is the flame of faithfulness, the longing for what is holy, the hope that refuses to surrender, despite many wounds. Do not quench the Spirit, as 1 Thessalonians 5:19 says, because what I have breathed into your soul carries the life of heaven itself. Every word I am placing into your heart today is not meant for you simply to hear and forget. My word is a seed. When you receive it with faith, it will take root in your thoughts, your emotions, and the way you see yourself and your future. And then one day you will realize that you are no longer the person who was once bound by fear. I will give you the courage to step beyond your comfort zone, just as Abraham left his homeland without knowing where he was going, simply because he trusted the one who had called him. And through that faith he became the father of many nations. My beloved child, there are miracles that appear only when you dare to walk with me without seeing the entire path ahead. Do not fear the trials that still lie before you. Steel does not become strong without passing through fire. A great tree cannot stand firm unless it has endured fierce winds and storms. In the same way, I do not allow you to face trials so that I may watch you fall, but so that I may reveal that my power is sufficient to sustain you in every circumstance. When Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, the miracle was not that he avoided danger, but that I was with him in the midst of it. So it will be with you. I do not promise that your life will be without storms, but I do promise that you will never walk through them alone. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, as Isaiah 43:2 declares. My beloved child, what I am giving you is not merely a word of encouragement to make you feel better for a moment. This is part of a heavenly plan designed specifically for your life. Everything you have gone through, every encounter, every door that has opened or closed, is being connected into a larger picture of which you can now see only a few small pieces. But I see it all. I know which path will lead you to life, where your soul will blossom, when you must wait, and when you need to step forward boldly. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go, as Psalm 32:8 says. Therefore, as you continue to listen to me, you are receiving guidance that surpasses human wisdom. The day will come when you stand in this world as living proof that I am still at work, not because you are more perfect than others, but because you chose to trust me, even in the most difficult and confusing seasons. People will see in you a light that does not come from this world. They will see a soul once broken but now healed, once weak but now standing firm, once confused but now filled with peace. And then your life will become a song of praise to my power, clearer than 1,000 sermons. Therefore today, my beloved child, hold fast to the flame I have placed within you. Do not let delay discourage you. Do not allow the voice of doubt to choke what I am sowing into your soul. Keep walking, keep trusting, keep listening, for the season of sprouting has already begun. The seeds you have sown in tears will soon blossom in joy. And when you look back on this journey, you will understand that every trial, every season of waiting, and every word I speak today has been leading you to the very place I appointed for you from eternity. My beloved child, do not see the journey you are walking as merely repeated steps through ordinary days in my eyes. Every time you choose to keep trusting even before you see results, every moment you remain even when your heart is weary, you are on a pilgrimage. There are pilgrimages that do not take place on roads of stone, but deep within the soul, where you learn to release fear, where you learn to walk by faith instead of temporary feelings. And my child, not one of your steps is meaningless. The steps of a righteous person are ordered by the Lord, as Scripture declares. Even when you think you are moving very slowly, I still see you drawing closer to the place I prepared for you long ago. Sometimes you do not realize that your quiet perseverance is transforming you day by day. Mountains are not formed in a single night, nor does a river carve deep channels through hard stone with only one passing flow. Yet, drop by drop, persistent water changes the landscape over time. Your faith is the same. Each time you listen to me with an open heart, each time you choose to remain instead of giving up, something within you is being built. I am leading you out of the old land of limitation and into the new land of hope and freedom. It is the place where your soul is no longer chained by negative words, painful memories, or the fear of failure. It is where you begin to see yourself through my eyes rather than through the judgment of the world. Remember the people of Israel as they passed through the wilderness. Many times they thought the journey was only weariness and delay, but in truth, I was preparing them for the promised land. If I had brought them in immediately without the process, they would not have been mature enough to hold what I was giving them. You are the same, my beloved child. There are doors I have not opened immediately because I am making your soul stronger than you realize. The wilderness is not a sign that I have abandoned you. Many times it is the very place where I speak to you most intimately. Therefore, behold, I will lead her into the wilderness and speak tenderly to her, as Hosea 2:14 says. In that stillness, I teach you to hear my voice more clearly than all the noise of the world. So today, I do not want you merely to hear with physical ears and let my words pass by. I want you to listen with your soul. There is a great difference between someone who only hears information and someone who receives life. The first merely gathers knowledge, but the second is transformed from within. When my word takes root in your heart, it will become a light, guiding you through your darkest days. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path, as the psalm declares. I do not simply want you to know about me. I want you to walk with me so that your life may become part of the story of grace that heaven is writing. My beloved child, do not stand outside as a spectator watching your life drift by. I did not create you merely to exist, but to take part in something greater than yourself. While Peter remained in the boat, he was only an observer of the miracle. But when he stepped onto the water at my call, he became someone who experienced my power. Perhaps you are standing at the boundary between familiar safety and walking by faith. I know that frightens you, but remember that the door of transformation always opens to those who dare to step one step closer to me. What you have asked for, through tears over many years, has not been forgotten. Those prayers are leading you to this very moment, the moment when you must choose either to continue trusting or to turn away because of weariness. I know there is a flame within you that the world cannot fully understand. At times even you believed it had grown weak after so many disappointments. But my child, that is not a flame ignited by fleeting human emotions. It has been kindled by my very breath. It is the deep calling within you that prevents you from fully surrendering to darkness. It is the force that causes you to rise again after every fall. It is the hope that still burns even after life has covered everything in ashes. I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut, as Revelation 3:8 says. If I am the one who lit that flame, then I am also the one who will preserve it through every storm. Think of the prophet Elijah when he collapsed beneath the broom tree and asked to die. He believed he had completely failed, yet I did not condemn him for that weakness. I sent an angel to care for him, to give him bread and water, and then I led him onward in his journey. Do you see, my child? Even the strongest people grow weary at times. But what matters is not that you have never been exhausted. What matters is that you still allow me to restore you instead of giving up. I am not ashamed of your fragility. It is often in those very moments that my grace touches you most deeply. Therefore, my beloved child, let the flame within you burn brightly once again, not through desperate striving by your own strength, but by remaining in my presence a little longer, listening to me a little deeper, and trusting me one more time. Every moment you persevere today is becoming a step leading you closer to what I have promised. There is a new door waiting to open before you, a door of healing, restoration, and the new life you once prayed for in silence. And when that moment comes, you will realize that not one word I spoke was ever in vain. Not one tear was forgotten, and not one faithful step you took escaped my eternal love. My beloved child, pause for a moment amid the noise of the world and listen to the calling echoing from eternity. What is taking place within your heart right now is not a fragile coincidence that appears and disappears. I appointed this moment long before you ever recognized it. Even when you still did not understand where your life's journey would lead, I already saw this day, the day your soul would stand before a new door, where old limitations begin to crack beneath the light of faith. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut, as Revelation 3:8 declares. Therefore, do not turn away while the door of grace stands wide open before you, and do not stop walking while heaven itself is drawing you nearer to what I prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Perhaps deep within your heart, there are still questions you have never spoken aloud. You wonder whether those good things are truly meant for you. You look at your limitations, your past failures, your old wounds, and think that it would be difficult for you to step into something greater. But my beloved child, many whom I have called before you were trembling, just as you are now. When I called Moses back to Egypt to deliver my people, he said he was not eloquent enough to speak. When I called Jeremiah, he answered that he was only a child. When the angel appeared to Mary, she too was troubled by something beyond human understanding. Yet miracles do not begin with human certainty. They begin with my presence. With God, all things are possible, as Matthew 19:26 declares. What you do not understand today does not mean that I am not working. Often it is within the darkness of uncertainty that I am quietly building my greatest wonders. Do not think that I am limited by the laws of this earth. I am the one who parted the Red Sea before my people. I am the one who multiplied bread in the wilderness. I am the one who called Lazarus out of the grave when everyone believed hope had ended. When you see a barren desert, I see rivers ready to flow through it. When you see only ashes after loss, I already see new life quietly beginning to rise. See, I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? As Isaiah 43:19 says, you do not need to fully understand everything in order to walk with me. You only need to open your heart and allow faith to lead you one step further. My beloved child, faith is not seeing the entire road before daring to walk it. Faith is continuing to walk even when only a small lamp lights the path before your feet. Abraham left his homeland without knowing where he was going. Noah built the ark in an age that had never seen great rain. Peter stepped onto the water simply because he heard my voice calling him. It is within those steps that move beyond human reasoning that heavenly power is revealed. I know there are times when you want everything to be clear before you dare to believe, but if everything remained within human understanding, where would there be room for my miracles? The righteous shall live by faith. And that faith is the key that opens the treasure your soul has longed for over so many years. Lift your eyes toward the heavens whenever your heart begins to grow faint. The stars you see at night do not shine by their own strength. I called each one by name and placed them in their appointed place. The sun does not rise by its own power. I am the one who awakens the dawn every morning. Every gentle breeze, every drop of dew upon the fields, every heartbeat within your chest is evidence that my power is constantly at work. If I care for the birds of the air and clothe the lilies of the field in beauty, how could I forget you, the one I formed with my own love? You are worth more than many sparrows, as Luke 12:7 says. Therefore, do not let fear convince you that you have been forgotten in this vast world. There is a story I want you to keep deep within your heart. When the prophet Ezekiel stood before the valley full of dry bones, everything before his eyes spoke only of death and hopelessness. But I asked him, Son of man, can these bones live? And when he obeyed and proclaimed what I had spoken, the breath of life entered those dry bones, causing them to rise as a mighty army. Do you see, my child? What the world calls an ending can still become a beginning when I touch it. There may be parts of your life that seem dead, dreams you buried away, hopes you no longer dare to mention, yet I am still able to bring them back to life in my perfect time. So today, I want you to stop looking at yourself through the limited eyes of humanity. Do not measure your future by your present circumstances. Do not allow your past to determine your destiny. I am preparing for you a gift that neither silver nor gold can buy, and that no earthly power can create. It is not merely a temporary blessing, but a touch from eternity itself, a peace the world cannot steal away, a restoration that reaches deep into the soul, and a joy no longer dependent upon outward circumstances. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, as written in John 14:27. Therefore, my beloved child, continue to remain in my presence. Do not give up just before the dawn appears. Do not allow unanswered questions to make you turn away from the miracle drawing near. Every second you persevere today is bringing you closer to the destiny I appointed for you from the beginning. There are doors opening in the unseen realm that your eyes cannot yet perceive. There are prayers drawing near to the day of their answer. And the time will come when you look back and realize that it was precisely in the moment you chose to trust me, amid what you could not understand, that my miracle quietly entered your life. My beloved child, do not think that miracles always arrive suddenly. Many of the things I do begin quietly. My miracles often do not appear in moments that leave people astonished, but within the gentle process through which your soul is changed day by day. As you continue opening your heart, continuing to walk forward, even before seeing the full result, you are standing beneath the flow of grace. Every small drop of healing, hope, and peace is falling upon your life. And the day will come when you look back and realize that an entire river was formed from those things that once seemed so small. Whoever believes in me, rivers of living water will flow from within them. As John clearly declares, I do not only want to touch the surface of your life, I want to renew the deepest places you once believed had become barren and lifeless. There are times when you wonder how you could possibly move forward through things far beyond your own strength. But my child, I have never called you based only on what you could accomplish by yourself. When I called Peter to walk upon the water, he did not walk by natural ability, but by the power of my word. When I sent young David to face Goliath, the victory did not come from the size of his sling, but from my presence being with him. You are the same, my beloved child. What I place before you will always be greater than human strength, so that you may learn to rely on me rather than on yourself. Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, as Zechariah 4-6 says. Therefore, do not let fear convince you that you are not enough. If I am the one who chose you, then I am also the one who will strengthen you. I want you to learn how to see beyond what your natural eyes can perceive. There are moments when outwardly it seems that nothing is changing. Yet within the spiritual realm, every part of my plan is already moving. You may think you are still standing in the same place, but I see you gradually being lifted beyond old limitations. Faith is the set of eyes that allows you to see what does not yet exist as though it already does. For we walk by faith, not by sight. When you choose to trust me, even while you do not yet understand everything, you are opening your soul for miracles to move within it. My beloved child, do not think that miracles are meant only for your personal life. I desire my power to flow through you and touch others as well. A soul that has been healed can become a refuge for many weary souls. Someone who has walked through darkness will know how to carry light to those who are lost. Remember the Samaritan woman at the well. When I touched her life, she did not keep that joy to herself. She ran back into the city and led many people to me. What I am doing in you today is the same. I am preparing you to become a living testimony that my grace is still at work in this wounded world. And I want you to engrave this deeply within your heart. Miracles are not rewards reserved for perfect people. If that were true, no one could stand before me. Miracles are signs of mercy. When I healed the woman who had suffered from bleeding for 12 years, she did not come to me through worthiness, but through trembling faith. When I called Matthew, a despised tax collector, I did not wait for him to become perfect before choosing him. My grace always comes before transformation. My grace is sufficient for you. You do not need to make yourself worthy in order to be loved. I loved you before you even knew how to walk rightly. There are days when you feel as though you must carry the whole world upon your shoulders, as if everything would collapse if you stopped striving. But my beloved child, I never created you to live in exhaustion and fear. I did not ask you to carry burdens beyond your strength alone. Cast all your anxiety upon him because he cares for you, as 1 Peter 5-7 says. I am the one who holds you up when your knees tremble. I am the one who keeps you standing when your mind grows weary. And even when your faith feels as small as a mustard seed, I am still able to do great things through that simple trust. Remember Elijah when he sat beneath the broom tree and thought he could no longer continue. He had once seen fire fall from heaven and witnessed great power. Yet even he had moments of exhaustion and despair. But I did not leave him in that weakness. I sent an angel to bring him bread and water, then gently led him to rise and continue the journey. Do you see, my child? I do not despise your weariness. I understand your limits more deeply than you understand yourself. What I desire is not a person who pretends to be strong all the time, but a heart that still turns back to me even in its weakest moments. Therefore today, my beloved child, keep walking. Do not measure your journey by someone else's speed. Do not let delays make you think I have forgotten my promise. Every second of patience is growing wings within your soul. Every time you continue to trust, another layer of old chains is falling away. I am lifting you out of the land of fear and into the wider sky of hope and freedom. But those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings, as Isaiah 40:31 declares. So do not let go of hope, my child. The river of miracles is still flowing. The door of heaven is still open. And at the very moment when you think everything is still too far away, I have been quietly bringing you closer to the fulfillment your heart has prayed for over so many years. My beloved child, there are nights when your heart grows quiet as you look at the lives of others and wonder why they seem to walk through wide open doors while you must pass through so many seasons of waiting. I know there have been times when you silently compared yourself with those around you, wondering why they received what you longed for while you still stood in unanswered silence. But my child, you are looking through the eyes of time, while I look through the eyes of eternity. What you see is only a short part of the journey, while I see the whole picture I am weaving for your life. He has made everything beautiful in its time, as Ecclesiastes 3:11 says. Some seeds sprout quickly, but some great trees need time to root deeply before they can rise high enough to touch the sky. I never created two souls exactly alike. When I placed David in the fields, tending sheep, no one thought that boy would become king. When I led Joseph through years of betrayal and imprisonment, no one saw the throne waiting ahead of him. And when I look at you today, I also see what you have not yet recognized within yourself. You are not being left behind. You are being prepared in a very personal way for a very personal calling. Do not measure your journey by the speed of others, because what I am building in you is not a copy of anyone else. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace. What I have reserved for you carries the unique mark of love and wisdom from heaven. Perhaps you think you only happen to pause at this moment, but in my kingdom, nothing is accidental. Before you understood the road you would walk, I had already placed signs along your journey. There are encounters I arrange. There are words I allow you to hear at the exact moment your soul needs them most. There are doors that seem to open by coincidence, yet in truth, they were appointed long ago. Remember the story of Esther? An orphan girl thought she was merely being swept along by circumstances, but in truth, I had placed her in the right position at the right time to save an entire people. Every winding step in her life led to a destined hour prepared by heaven. You are the same, my beloved child. What you call coincidence is often my hand gently guiding your life closer to what I have ordained. Therefore, do not take this moment lightly. If your soul is trembling, if your heart feels that something is being awakened, it is not because human words alone have the power to do such a thing. I am the one touching the deepest place within you. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, as Jeremiah says. I knew your name before the world ever knew you. I know the tears you have never told anyone about. I know the times you smiled outwardly while feeling weary within. And I also know the potential I placed inside you. The very thing that even you have often been afraid to believe is real. My child, the greatest mistake is not that you have not yet achieved everything you desire. The greatest mistake is when you begin to believe that you are worthless, that your life is merely an ordinary existence among a vast sea of people. That is not my voice. I have never called you insignificant. When I created you, I did not work carelessly. The potter does not shape a precious vessel only to forget it in a dark corner. In the same way, I did not create you without purpose. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. As Psalm 139:14 says, you are the work of care and love, set apart in a unique way. Look at the nature I have created. No two snowflakes are exactly alike. No two stars carry the same light. Every created thing bears a uniqueness designed by my own hand. So how could you, the one I cherish most among creation, be merely a nameless copy? No, my beloved child, I have placed within you a sound that no one else can release, a light that no one else can reflect in the way you can. There are people you will reach whom no one else could touch. There are doors that will open for you because I have ordained them so, and there are wounds in your life that will one day become the very places through which I bring healing to others. Remember Moses. He once believed he was too weak and too inadequate to be used. He focused more on his flaws than on my promise. Yet, I turned the staff in his hand into a sign of power. What you see as limitation may become the very place where my glory is revealed most clearly. I am not searching for perfection in you. I am searching for a heart willing to trust me more than its fears. My strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, do not despise the fragile places within you. It is often there that my grace touches most deeply. My beloved child, do not let the voice of doubt continue to suffocate what I have planted within your soul. Do not call yourself small when I have called you chosen. Do not call yourself meaningless when I have placed eternal purpose upon your life. Perhaps you cannot yet see the entire road ahead, but that does not make my promise any less true. A seed cannot see the future forest while it still lies beneath the soil, yet life is already within it. In the same way, what I have placed inside you is growing day by day, even when your eyes cannot yet perceive it. So today, I want you to lift up your head once again. Stop looking at yourself through the lens of past failures or the judgments of the world. See yourself through the eyes of the one who created you. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are not a wandering soul lost in this uncertain world. You are one who has been called by name. You are one who has been chosen, and every step of your life is being guided by the hand that has never left you, not even for a single moment. My beloved child, you may think you have only happened to pause here for a brief moment in your life, but I tell you that my hand has been leading you to this very moment for a long time. I did not begin seeking you only today. I have gently knocked upon the door of your heart through many seasons, even when you yourself did not recognize it. Sometimes it was through a dream that left you waking with a feeling too deep to explain. Sometimes it was a quiet stirring in the middle of the night that suddenly softened your heart. Sometimes it was through a simple sentence that continued echoing within your mind. I have used many ways to turn your eyes back toward the light because I never wanted you to spend your whole life forgetting who you truly are. Behold, I stand at the door and knock, as Revelation 3:20 says. And today, amid all the noise of the world, you are beginning to hear my voice more clearly because your soul has arrived at the moment I appointed for it. My child, there have been far too many years in which you viewed yourself through eyes full of limitation. You became accustomed to comparison, accustomed to feeling small among the vast crowds of people, accustomed to thinking your life was merely a faded fragment that no one noticed. But that has never been the way I see you. When I created you, I did not work carelessly or by accident. An artist does not unintentionally create a masterpiece. Every detail carries intention. In the same way, every part of you has been placed with purpose. As the song declares, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are not a nameless soul drifting through time. You are someone who carries the mark of heaven, carrying within you a seed I planted upon this earth with clear intention. Remember the boy Samuel in the temple when my voice called out in the night. He did not understand what was happening. Several times he thought it was only an ordinary call. But then came the moment when he learned to answer, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." And from that moment on, the course of his destiny was changed forever. You are the same, my beloved child. What is happening within your heart right now is not merely a passing emotion. I am awakening the deepest part of your soul, the part that has slept for too long beneath the weight of disappointment and doubt. I want you to understand that you were called not merely to exist, but to reflect my light in this world. Try to imagine what would happen if from this day forward you began seeing yourself through my eyes instead of through the eyes of fear. Then you would no longer live in insecurity or comparison. You would no longer suffer under the question, why do others have what I do not? Because you would realize that the greatest treasures are not found in the things the world sees. There are people who possess fame yet carry empty souls. There are people surrounded by wealth, yet lacking peace within. But I am placing within you a treasure the world can neither buy nor steal away. My presence, my choosing of you, and the eternal promise quietly working within you. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also, as Matthew 6:21 declares. I want your heart anchored in eternal things, rather than in what quickly fades away. My beloved child, you did not appear upon this earth by accident. Every breath you take is known to me. Every step you walk lies within my sight. Even in the paths where you believed you were lost, I was quietly guiding your direction. Remember Joseph? The years of being sold into slavery and imprisoned unjustly seemed meaningless. Yet when the day came that he stood within the palace of Egypt, he understood that every pain had been part of a greater plan. What others intended to use to destroy him, I transformed into a path that would save many lives. In the same way, my child, the trials you have endured are not proof that I abandoned you. They are preparation. I am creating within you endurance, compassion, and depth that only souls who have walked through refining fire can possess. Therefore, stop calling yourself ordinary. You are part of the story I am writing upon this earth. Perhaps today you cannot yet see the full meaning of your life, but I already do. There are people you will touch with only a gentle word. There are souls who will rediscover hope when they witness the way I restore you. I do not only want to bless you so that you may enjoy those blessings alone. I want your life to become living proof that my grace is real. When I heal the wounds within you, those very places that once caused pain will become streams of comfort for others. My beloved child, let this truth soak deeply into your heart. You are chosen, not after you become more perfect, but exactly where you are right now. You are called by name not because you are the strongest, but because I love you. Every season of waiting you have walked through has been leading you to this very moment. The delays were never meant to destroy your hope, but to prepare your soul to be wide enough for what I am about to give you. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, as Romans 8:28 says. Even the things you once cried over will eventually become part of your song of gratitude. Perhaps you once prayed for miracles and saw no visible change, and slowly your heart grew weary. But I want you to know this. Miracles do not always begin with something the eyes can see. Many times they begin with a renewal within the soul. They begin when you stop seeing yourself as someone forgotten and start realizing that you belong to me. They begin when hope comes alive again in a heart that once believed it had grown cold. And my beloved child, if today you feel your heart awakening, that itself is the sign that the miracle has already begun. So lift up your head. Do not continue walking as someone unaware of their own worth. Do not allow old voices to pull you back into the darkness of insecurity and doubt. I am calling you into the light of truth, the truth that you are loved, chosen, and appointed for a greater purpose. When you allow me to lead you, your life will become a radiant testimony that my power is still at work in this world, and that no soul I have called by name is ever forgotten within my eternal heart. My beloved child, when you truly open your heart to the truth I am placing within your soul, then you will begin to feel something changing deep inside you. It is not merely a passing emotion that fades away, but the relief of a soul that has finally found the place where it belongs. The invisible burdens you have carried for so many years, comparison, feelings of lack, the fear of not being enough will slowly fall away. Your mind will no longer wander in the darkness of the question, why do I not have what others have? Instead, a new thanksgiving will rise from the deepest part of you. Lord, thank you for not forgetting me. And my child, it is precisely that gratitude that will open the door for peace to enter your life in a way you have never experienced before. When your soul truly understands that it has been chosen, the way you walk through life will also change. You will no longer live in fear. I will place within you a holy confidence, not the pride of humanity, but the steadiness of one who knows they are upheld by my hand. Just as David stepped out to face Goliath, not because he thought himself stronger, but because he knew the one walking with him was greater than every enemy before him. If God is for us, who can be against us? As Romans 8:31 declares. When you understand this, fear will no longer rule your life as it once did. The very things that once caused you to retreat will become places where you witness my power being revealed. My beloved child, I did not lead you here merely to hear a few comforting words and then return to your old way of living. I am marking a new beginning in your life. This is the moment your soul is being called out of the familiar land of doubt and into the land of understanding. You are no longer the same person you once were. Perhaps the world cannot yet see the change immediately, but within the spiritual realm, a door has already opened. If anyone is in Christ, they are a new creation. I am renewing the way you see yourself, the way you see your future, and the way you see my presence within your life. Do not be afraid when I call you to become different. Those who are set apart often must walk paths the crowd does not understand. Joseph was rejected by his own brothers before becoming the one who would save them. Elijah stood alone among a people full of doubt. Even Jesus himself was misunderstood by the world before the light of resurrection revealed his glory. Do you see, my child? A calling does not always begin with the applause of crowds. Many times it begins in quiet seasons, where I prepare your soul in solitude. Yet it is those very seasons that make you strong enough to carry what I place within your hands without losing yourself. My beloved child, I want you to understand that miracles are no longer distant things beyond your reach. They are already beginning within every breath, every small change taking place inside you. The greatest miracle is not merely a change of circumstances, but a heart once filled with fear, now learning peace. A soul once overwhelmed by despair, now learning to hope again. Remember blind Bartimaeus by the roadside. Before his eyes were opened, the first thing that happened was that he dared to cry out to me, even while the crowd tried to silence him. Faith caused him to refuse to remain the same. And when I called him near, what seemed impossible became reality. You are the same. My beloved child, there are things I am doing within your life that today appear only as small sprouts, but one day they will grow into trees filled with fruit. This is the very time I appointed for you, not some distant tomorrow, nor a perfect moment according to human thinking. Right now, I am inviting you to step into a new chapter of your life, a chapter where dreams once buried begin to shine again, a chapter where the prayers you offered through tears slowly emerge from the shadows of hope and step into the light of fulfillment. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, as Hebrews 11:1 declares. What you have carried within your heart for so many years is not an illusion if it was born from me. Perhaps there were times when you became afraid to hope again because you had already faced so many disappointments. But I want you to know that I do not plant holy desires within your heart, only to abandon them and let them die. Dreams purified through prayer, waiting, and tears carry within them the seed of life. Just as Hannah wept for many years because she had no child, yet Samuel was born at the exact time I had appointed. Those years of waiting were not meaningless. They prepared her heart deeply enough to offer her greatest treasure back to me. You are the same, my beloved child. The seasons of delay you have endured are maturing your soul for what I am about to place into your hands. Therefore, move forward with new eyes. Do not look at the future through the hesitation of your old self anymore. Walk as one who knows they belong to the light. Speak with faith instead of fear. Live with the courage that comes from knowing I am with you. From this moment on, you no longer walk as someone forgotten in this vast world, but as one carrying a calling from heaven within your soul. And when the moment of fulfillment draws near, you will look back upon today and understand that the very moment you chose to trust me more deeply, once again, became the beginning of the most beautiful chapter of your life. My beloved child, look upon your soul as a vessel I have formed with my own loving hands. I did not create you to live forever, in emptiness or dryness. That vessel was made to carry light, to contain life from heaven above. When you open your heart before me, I will pour into it a peace the world cannot give, wisdom beyond human understanding, and strength that will help you stand firm in days of strong winds. The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life, as Proverbs 10:11 declares. When your heart is filled with the goodness that comes from me, the words you speak will also carry warmth and healing to the weary souls around you. You will come to realize that my presence within you does not only transform you, but also begins to touch the lives of those you encounter along your journey. There are ideas I planted quietly within your mind long ago, yet you were afraid to believe they could truly become reality. You saw your own limitations, and therefore hesitated to move forward. But my beloved child, a seed cannot become a great tree if it remains forever resting in the hand of the sower. I placed within you creativity, compassion, and the ability to bring forth beautiful things, not so they would remain dormant, but so they could bear fruit in their appointed season. Remember Bezalel, whom I filled with the Spirit of God in order to create beautiful works for the tabernacle. I gave him not only skill, but also wisdom and inspiration, so that what he created would reflect the beauty of heaven. You are the same, my child. What I have placed within your heart is not meaningless. It can become a stream of life for many people if you dare to place it into my hands. Do not fear the great things I am preparing for you. I know there have been many times when you stepped back, not because you lacked desire, but because you feared you would not be able to carry the good things once they arrived. You believed that great blessings would bring great pressure, and your heart trembled before such responsibility. But my beloved child, I never place anything into your hands without also giving you the strength to carry it. When I called Moses to lead my people through the wilderness, I also went with him through the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night. When I placed Joshua before the promised land filled with battles, I declared to him, "Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God will be with you." As Joshua 1-9 says, "What makes you steadfast is not your own strength, but my presence walking beside you." My beloved child, I do not want you to believe that blessings are things that will pull you away from me. The things I give are not meant to draw your heart away from me, but to reveal my faithfulness within your life. There are people who receive what they prayed for and then forget the one who gave it. But I am teaching you a different path, the path of gratitude and deeper communion with me. When you understand that every good thing comes from my hand, your heart will no longer be bound by wealth or success, but will become even softer in worship. Every good and perfect gift is from above. James 1:17. And when you remember this, blessings will not become burdens or idols, but songs of thanksgiving rising up to me. Remember Solomon when he was still young, I appeared to him and gave him the right to ask for anything. He did not ask for riches or victory, but for wisdom to lead the people rightly. Because of that heart, I gave him not only wisdom, but also added other things to him. Do you see, my child? When a person's heart is rightly aligned with my purpose, blessing is no longer a dangerous thing. What I seek in you is not perfection, but a heart willing to place every desire into my hands to be purified. Dreams that pass through the fire of prayer and surrender no longer carry the color of selfishness. They become instruments through which my light spreads more widely upon the earth. My beloved child, I want you to understand that what I give you has never been meant for you alone. A river is not created to keep water for itself, but to refresh the lands it passes through. In the same way, I want your life to become a flow of goodness. The healing experiences you receive will help you comfort those who are in pain. The lessons you learn through trials will become light for those who are lost. The doors I open for you will cause others to see that I am still at work. You are the light of the world, as Matthew 5:14 declares. I do not light up your life so that the light may be hidden, but so that through you many other souls may also find hope. Perhaps today you still cannot see the fullness of what I am preparing, but I want you to learn to trust my process. Gold cannot become pure without passing through fire. Grapes cannot become new wine unless they are pressed. The desires within you also need to be refined, so that when they come to pass, they will carry life instead of pride. I am teaching you not only how to receive, but also how to steward what I give with humility and love. For what I am preparing for you will not only affect your own life, it will also touch the people I will bring into your journey. Therefore, today, do not be afraid to open your heart wider to the great things I am placing in your hands. Do not shrink your dreams simply because the past once disappointed you. If I have planted something within your soul, I will also care for it so that it grows in its appointed season. Continue to stay close to me so that the vessel of your soul may remain filled with living water from heaven. And then you will see that every word you speak, every work you do, and every dream you pursue will no longer merely reflect your old self, but will reflect my very light and love living within you. My beloved child, I know there are days when you are swept into the rhythm of life so quickly that your soul no longer has enough stillness to recognize what is truly happening within you. You are busy with responsibilities, with one pressure after another, and little by little, you begin to think that constant weariness, prolonged delay, or heaviness in your mind is simply a normal part of life. But my child, I want you to pause for a moment and look deeper. Not every burden you carry comes from outward circumstances. There are unseen things quietly draining your strength and hope. I do not say this to frighten you, but to awaken you from a dangerous familiarity with the things that are silently holding your soul back. There are barriers that do not appear in a clear, visible form, yet they exist in the repeated thoughts that always make you feel you are not enough. They hide within relationships that pull you away from peace. They grow through habits that gradually dim the light within you without you even realizing it. The enemy of the soul does not always come with a loud noise. Many times it only plants a small whisper. You can change tomorrow. You will always be this way, or there is no other hope. But my beloved child, I never created you to live in the chains of stagnation and despair. I have come that they may have life and have it abundantly. As John declares, what I have for you is not a life bound by fear and delay, but a life filled with freedom, light, and newness. Remember the woman who had been bent over for 18 years in the synagogue? People had grown so used to seeing her in that condition that they considered it normal. Perhaps even she had begun to believe she would live that way forever. But when I saw her, I did not see a fixed destiny. I saw a daughter who needed to be set free, and I said, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." Immediately that invisible chain was broken. Do you see, my child? Something that has lasted for many years does not mean it came from me. There are things you have grown used to enduring for so long that you have mistaken them for the nature of your life. But I am calling you out of that acceptance. I do not want you merely to exist under a burden. I want you to stand upright in the freedom of one who belongs to the light. My beloved child, I see the things your eyes cannot yet see. I know there are battles taking place within your mind, moments when you want to move forward, yet feel an invisible force pulling you back. There are times when you begin with hope only to quickly become overwhelmed by weariness and doubt. There are moments when you stand before a new door, yet your heart fills with fear without understanding why. But I tell you today, darkness does not have ultimate authority over your life. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it, as John 1:5 declares. It is often in the places that seem darkest that my light can shine most brightly, if you allow me to enter. I did not call you to live forever in a cycle of delay and disappointment. There are people who become so accustomed to delay that they no longer expect good things at all. They tell themselves, perhaps this is simply how life will always be. But my child, I did not create you for a life of resignation. The people of Israel wandered in the wilderness for far too long because they were afraid to step into what I had promised them. It was not because I failed to make a way, but because their hearts had not yet dared to believe they could truly enter the good land. You are the same, my beloved child. There are new lands I desire to lead you into. But first, you must stop treating old chains as something normal. So today, I am inviting you to look again at your own heart beneath my light. Do not rush merely to examine outward things. Allow me to shine into the hidden corners you often avoid. There may be habits that are slowly cooling your soul. There may be voices around you planting negativity and doubt within your heart. There may be old wounds that have made you afraid to hope again. I do not reveal these things to condemn you, but to heal you. A physician must touch the wound in order to heal it at the root, and I am the one who heals your soul with love, not with shame. He brought them out of darkness and the shadow of death and broke away their chains. Those words were not spoken only for people long ago. They are being spoken over you today. I am able to break the invisible chains you cannot remove through your own strength, but you must cooperate with me through awareness and surrender. Be courageous enough to release the things pulling you away from the light. Learn how to guard your mind from what sows despair. Let my word fill your heart more deeply than the fears of this world. My beloved child, do not be afraid when I reveal the truth about the things hindering you. Light is not sent to shame you, but to set you free. When a dark room is open to the sunlight, the dust becomes visible. Not so the room may be abandoned, but so it may be cleansed and made bright again. I am doing the same within your soul. What I desire is not a life that is merely surviving, but a life of true freedom, a life where you are no longer held back by old things, no longer living beneath the weight of invisible chains. Therefore today, my beloved child, awaken your soul. Do not continue calling your barriers normal. Do not settle for living beneath the freedom I have destined for you. I stand beside you not to accuse you, but to take your hand and lead you out of darkness. Allow my light to shine into every hidden place. Be brave enough to let go of what is dragging you down. And then you will see that the walls, which once seemed too great, are only thin mist before my power, while your soul, walking in the light, will rediscover the strength, peace, and freedom I prepared for you from the very beginning. My beloved child, today I call to you, not with a gentle whisper of former days, but with the strong voice of love, longing to awaken your soul. Not because I am angry or seeking to condemn you, but because I see the things quietly tightening around your heart while you have slowly grown accustomed to living with them. There are chains that make no sound, so you believe you are still fine. There are burdens that do not cause you to collapse immediately, so you assume you can carry them forever. But my child, I did not create you to drag yourself beneath invisible bondage. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. My intention for you was never a life restrained by fear, bitterness, or exhaustion. I created you for light, for life, and for the greater purpose I placed within your soul before time itself began. You were called not merely to survive the passing of days, but to become a lamp shining in dark places. There are people who will find hope when they witness the way I restore you. There are souls wandering in darkness who will recognize the light when you rise from the things that once bound you. And because of this, the enemy of your soul constantly seeks to distract you. It does not always need to destroy your life in a single moment. Often, all it wants is to keep you distracted long enough for you to forget my calling. It wants your mind filled with noise so that you can no longer hear the voice of the Spirit reminding you of truth. It wants you to postpone facing the things that need healing, so that small cracks gradually become fortified strongholds. But my beloved child, today I am awakening you before that darkness takes root more deeply. Remember Samson. He did not lose his strength in a single day. His downfall began with small compromises he treated lightly. Step by step, He allowed things into his life that should never have entered, until eventually his eyes were blinded and his strength departed from him. Do you see, my child? A soul does not become hardened in an instant. It slowly dries out through repeated moments of ignoring my warnings. So today, when I stir your heart, it is not disturbance, but grace, trying to draw you back into the light before it is too late. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. As Hebrews 3:15 declares, I am calling you back to spiritual wakefulness. Do not underestimate the small signs I place before your eyes. There are times when the uneasiness in your heart is not meant to frighten you, but to make you stop and look more deeply. Sometimes I allow a word to touch you, an old memory to return, or an emptiness to rise within you simply to remind you that something still needs healing. A wise gardener removes weeds while they are still small. If they are allowed to grow, their roots will choke the life out of healthy plants. In the same way, I do not want you to wait until bitterness becomes resentment, until wounds become numbness, or until weariness becomes despair before turning back to me. I want to touch your soul now, while the chains can still be broken easily by light and truth. My beloved child, be still for a moment before me. Do not run away from the deep questions within your heart. Is there something you are avoiding? Is there a pain you continue holding tightly because you fear facing it? Is there a relationship draining your peace while you still struggle to let it go? Is there someone you need to forgive so that your own soul may finally be set free? I do not ask these things to condemn you. A physician does not open a wound in order to increase the patient's pain, but to heal it at the root. I am the same. Every truth I reveal carries with it an opportunity for freedom. Remember the man who lay crippled beside the pool of Bethesda for 38 years. He had become so accustomed to his condition that he had nearly lost hope of ever changing. But when I came near to him, the first thing I asked was not, "How long have you been suffering?" but, "Do you want to be healed?" Because there are people who have lived in chains for so long that they no longer dare to believe in freedom. You are the same, my child. I do not want you merely to survive through your days. I want you to truly be healed, truly walk in the freedom of one who belongs to me. Do not fear when I shine light into the hidden corners of your heart. Light does not come to shame you, but to drive away what is weakening you. When sunlight enters a dark room, the dust becomes visible, not so the room may be discarded, but so it may be cleaned and made bright again. I am doing the same within your soul. Perhaps you will need to let go of certain familiar things, but I promise that the freedom ahead is far greater than the pain of release. And my beloved child, do not forget that this battle is not only about you. What I am preparing for your life will also touch many others. The enemy knows this, which is why it seeks to keep you trapped in stagnation and distraction. But if you take hold of the key I am placing into your hands, the key of spiritual awareness, surrender, and faith, those strongholds will fall. Places once occupied by darkness will be filled with light. Chains that once exhausted your soul will fall away from you. Therefore, today I call you not to delay any longer. Lay every burden at my feet. Let your tears flow if they must. Be courageous enough to speak honestly with me about the pain within your heart. I have not come to crush you because of your weakness. I have come to lift you out of it. Cast your burden upon the Lord, and He will sustain you. As it declares, every act of surrender becomes a doorway opened for healing. Every time you choose light instead of hiding, you take one step closer toward true freedom. My beloved child, I am standing right here, not with hands of condemnation, but with hands marked by the nails of love. Let me touch the deepest places within you. Let me break apart the chains while they are still fragile. And then you will see that the thing which once made you believe you were trapped forever was only darkness dissolving before my eternal light. My beloved child, listen deeply within your soul, for I am calling you into a new season unlike anything you have experienced before. This is no longer the season of delay, of old cycles, or of fear causing you to shrink back from what I have promised. A new door is opening before you, a door of grace, restoration, and the very things you once only dared to ask for through tears. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. As Isaiah 43:19 declares, I do not speak these words merely to stir temporary emotions, but so that your soul may recognize that I am truly moving within your life even now. Do not be afraid when you feel yourself being drawn away from what is familiar. A young bird cannot learn to fly if it clings forever to its old nest. The people of Israel could not enter the promised land if they kept turning their eyes back toward Egypt. In the same way, my beloved child, there are things I am opening before you that are greater than what you have always known. And because of this, your heart sometimes trembles. But remember this, I do not simply hand you a key and then stand far away while you struggle alone. I am the one who opens the door, and I am also the one who walks before you. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. As Deuteronomy 31:8 says, when I invite you into something greater, I also give you the strength to walk within it. My child, keep your heart soft before me. Do not allow old wounds to harden your spirit against the new thing I am doing. Sometimes, you try to protect yourself through caution because you fear, hoping only to be disappointed again. But I do not want you to live with the door of your heart forever closed. The sower must open his hand before the seed can fall into the earth and bear fruit. You are the same, my beloved child. Let the breath of my grace move through your soul again. Allow yourself to believe that good things can still come. Blessed are those who wait for the Lord, as Isaiah 30:18 declares. That expectation does not make you weak. It prepares your soul for miracles. My beloved child, there are things in your life that have remained still for so long that you have nearly convinced yourself they will never change. There are closed doors that have wearied you. There are invisible walls that make you feel as though you are forever held back in one place. But when my light touches something, what has been motionless begins to move. Remember the valley of dry bones in Ezekiel's vision. Everything appeared utterly dead. Yet the moment my word was spoken, bone came together with bone. Breath entered them, and a living army stood up. So it is with you, my child. There are parts of your life where outwardly you cannot yet see change, but my word has already begun moving within the unseen realm. What you need is not despair, but eyes of faith to recognize that movement has already begun. I want you to understand that victory does not come merely from hearing my word and leaving it untouched. A key must be used before a door can open. Faith must walk before miracles can be experienced. When Naaman was told to wash 7 times in the Jordan River, he first had to humble himself and obey before healing came. You are the same, my beloved child. I am giving you spiritual strategies, reminders, inner promptings, and doors I open before you, but you must cooperate with me through obedience and perseverance. Do not expect change while refusing to take steps. Do not pray for light while still embracing what draws you back into darkness. I have always done and will always do my part. From the earliest days of your trials, I have been there. When you cried in silence, I heard you. When you thought you were alone, I was still walking beside you. There were storms that should have drowned you, yet my hand kept you standing even when you did not realize it. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge, Psalm 91 declares. I have never turned away from your life, not even for a single moment. Even in the seasons when you were farthest from me, my love continued, pursuing you without ceasing. But my child, I did not create you to stand still, waiting for everything to happen on its own. I want you to walk with me as a companion within this eternal plan. A door requires both a key and a hand willing to turn it. In the same way, my grace is always ready, but you must respond with surrender and action. When I urge you to forgive, forgive. When I tell you to release what is dragging your soul downward, be brave enough to let it go. When I open a new opportunity before you, do not allow fear to make you retreat. Every time you cooperate with me, another chain falls away, another door opens, and more light spreads throughout your life. My beloved child, this is a season of breakthrough, not because you have finally become strong enough, but because I am breathing new life upon your life. I am placing within your heart a new vision, new strength, and a new fire of hope. The things that once discouraged you will no longer have the same authority over you. The walls that once made you believe you were trapped will begin to crack beneath my power. And then you will realize that what I am doing is not only for you alone. Through your restoration, many others will find hope. Through your victory, many others will recognize that I am still moving within this world. Therefore, today, my beloved child, breathe deeply of my grace and lift up your head. Do not enter this new season with the mindset of your former defeats. Walk as one who knows they are being led by the one who never fails. I am going before you. I am opening doors. I am holding your hand. And if you continue to trust me, continue to walk, and continue to cooperate with me, you will see what once seemed impossible gradually appear before your eyes. My beloved child, I want you to understand that spiritual victory does not begin at the moment you see miracles with your natural eyes, but in the quiet choices you make every day when you decide to walk with me. There are many who stop at merely hearing, at merely knowing what is right, yet their souls never truly move because they have not allowed their feet to follow what I have spoken. Faith without works is dead, as James 2 declares. I have not called you into a life filled only with spiritual knowledge. I have called you into a life transformed through genuine communion with me. What I desire is not merely lips that pray, but a living heart turning toward me. Therefore, my beloved child, learn to pray as though prayer were the breath of your soul. Do not allow prayer to become a cold routine repeated by your lips while your heart remains far from me. I do not seek elegant words. I seek sincerity. There are brief prayers filled with tears that reach heaven more deeply than long speeches without the fire of love. Remember Hannah in the temple. She did not pray loudly for others to hear, but poured out her soul before me in pain and hope. And I heard the cry of her heart. You are the same, my child. Every time you come near to me with a sincere heart, the doors of heaven begin opening over your life in ways you cannot yet see. There are battles you cannot win through your own strength or human determination alone. There are chains that will not break through fleshly effort, but only through my presence when you remain in prayer. It is within those quiet moments before me that your soul is renewed. Your mind stops being dragged away by the noise of the world. Fear gradually loses its grip, and peace from heaven begins to rest upon your heart. Be still and know that I am God, as Psalm 46 declares. I know you live in a world that is always rushing, but your soul is not healed in haste. There are strengths I pour out only upon those who remain near me long enough to receive them. My beloved child, I also want you to learn how to forgive with your whole heart. I know there are wounds that run very deep. There are words that once shattered you. There are people who caused you to weep in loneliness, and I do not take that pain lightly. But if you continue carrying bitterness within your heart, it will become an invisible chain imprisoning your own soul. The enemy does not need to destroy you immediately. It only needs to fill your heart with resentment, and the light within you will slowly begin to fade. That is why I call you to forgive, not because others are always deserving, but because you are worthy of freedom. Remember Joseph? After all the betrayal and pain he endured, he still embraced his brothers instead of seeking revenge. It was that forgiveness that kept his soul from being consumed by darkness. In the same way, when you forgive, you are not denying the hurt that occurred. You are simply refusing to let it continue ruling your life. Forgive one another just as God forgave you, as Ephesians 4 declares. Forgiveness closes the door to darkness and opens the door for healing to enter. At first, you may not immediately feel lighter, but each step of obedience will gradually free your heart from the weight of the past. My beloved child, true faith does not exist only during easy days. True faith is revealed most clearly when you still choose to believe, even while seeing no change before your eyes. When Peter stepped out of the boat, the sea had not yet become calm. The waves were still crashing, and the wind was still fierce. Yet he walked because his eyes were fixed on me rather than on the storm. You are the same, my child. Faith is not waiting until everything becomes clear before moving forward. Faith is daring to step ahead when I call you, even when you cannot yet see the entire path before you. Perhaps today you are still standing within circumstances that have not yet changed. Perhaps the prayers you have lifted up have not yet been answered in the way you hoped. But my beloved child, do not let what your eyes see determine what your heart believes. The righteous shall live by faith, as Hebrews 10:38 declares. Faith is when you continue sowing, though you have not yet seen the harvest. It is when you continue giving thanks during seasons of waiting. It is when you continue walking, though your legs still tremble. And it is within that faithfulness that I begin doing things far beyond human understanding. Remember the people of Israel standing before the Jordan River. The waters did not part before they stepped in. Only when the priests, carrying the Ark of the Covenant, dared to place their feet into the water did the river open a path before them. Many miracles in your life are the same. I am waiting for your step of faith, not a step of perfection, but a step of trust. And when you walk with me, no matter how small your step may seem, Heaven itself will meet you along the way. Therefore, today, my beloved child, pray, forgive, walk. Do not let delay make you weary. Do not allow the past to pull you back into old places of darkness. I am leading you forward, day by day. And if you continue staying close to me, continue keeping your heart soft, and continue walking in faith, you will see each promise I have spoken gradually unfold before your eyes, not in a fleeting moment, but, my beloved child, after I have shown you the things quietly hindering your soul, do not turn away from them because of fear or shame. Bring everything before me and ask me to give you strength to face them. Not the strength of anger fighting back through the flesh, nor the hardness of self-protection, but the strength that comes from my truth and my love. For my child, darkness is not truly defeated through shouting or bitterness. It is driven away when light enters in. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it, as John 1-5 declares. When you allow my love to fill your soul, the chains that once discouraged you will gradually lose their power. I want you to understand that my love is not a weak emotion, easily wounded, as the world often believes. My love is a holy fire capable of consuming every false thing. It was this love that caused David to spare Saul's life, even while Saul pursued him. It was this love that led Stephen to pray for those who were stoning him. And upon the cross, it was this same love that caused Jesus to say, "Father, forgive them." Do you see, my child? True love does not make you weaker. It frees you from the darkness seeking to drag your soul down into bitterness and hatred. When you walk in my love, you walk within a place of safety where darkness cannot touch you in the way it desires. God is love, as 1 John 4-8 declares. And when you abide in me, that love becomes a fortress surrounding your life. My beloved child, today I am calling you to rise up. Not tomorrow, not when you feel more perfect, but right now, in this present moment, I have already placed the key into your hands, the key of faith, prayer, forgiveness, and surrender, but you must use it. A door does not open merely because a key exists. You must courageously place the key into the lock and turn it through obedience. I have given you spiritual armor, but you must put it on every day. Put on the full armor of God, as Ephesians says. Do not merely hear my words. Step into the living waters so your soul may truly be renewed. There are many who love hearing about victory, yet fear stepping into the battle of transformation. They want chains to break, but they do not want to release the very things keeping those chains attached to them. But my child, I am calling you deeper. Do not merely read my word and then forget it. Let every word I speak sink deeply into your mind and bones. Let it become the light guiding your decisions, the breath sustaining your soul during weekdays. When Joshua prepared to lead the people into the promised land, I did not only command him to be strong, I also told him to meditate upon my law day and night. It is my word that will keep your steps from wandering when everything around you begins to shake. My beloved child, never believe you are fighting alone. There are nights when you feel so lonely that it seems no one understands the battle inside you. Yet heaven has never taken its eyes off you. When Elijah believed he was the only faithful one left, I reminded him that there were still thousands whom I had preserved for myself. When Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, my angel was there, shutting the mouths of the beasts. And even now, though your eyes cannot yet see it, I am still sending angels to surround your life. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him. You are not alone in this battle. I want you to keep your heart soft before the Holy Spirit. Do not allow old wounds to make you hardened against my guidance. There will be times when I remind you to stop, times when I urge you to move forward, and times when I tell you to release what you once held tightly. Learn to become more sensitive to my voice than to the noise of the world. For victory does not come from your own strength, but from a life led by the Holy Spirit. Those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God. As Romans says, when you allow me to lead the way, even winding paths will become roads that lead to life. My beloved child, do not stop praying simply because you have not yet seen immediate results. Do not stop forgiving simply because the wound still hurts. Do not stop walking in faith simply because the storm has not yet become calm. Remember Jericho. Those walls did not fall on the first day the people marched around the city. Yet they continued to walk, continued to obey, continued to trust until the seventh day, and then the wall collapsed. You are the same, my child. There are strongholds in your life that may not fall instantly, but every step of obedience you take is shaking them in the unseen realm. The victory I have promised you is not a distant illusion. It is being built day by day through the decisions you make today. Every time you choose to stand upon my word instead of fear, another stone is laid upon the path of victory. Every time you forgive instead of holding on to bitterness, a chain is broken. Every time you pray instead of surrendering to despair, a new door opens in the spiritual realm, and the time will come when you look back and realize that I have led you farther than you ever thought you could go. My beloved child, this is the time to rise. This is no longer the season of spiritual sleep or retreat. Take my hand and step into the new season of spiritual victory. I am walking with you. I am strengthening you. And if you continue to remain faithful, continue to walk in love and faith, you will see not only your own life renewed, but also my light through you, touching other souls who are in need of hope. Then my glory will be revealed not only through words, but through your very life, a life once rescued, healed, and led into freedom by my eternal love. My beloved child, do not let my truth merely pass through your ears. Engrave it deeply into the innermost place of your soul. When you wake each morning and when you pass through the most weary hours of the day, let your heart remember this. You are chosen. You are loved. You have a purpose in Christ. Do not say, but there are too many voices out there trying to define you by failure, by shortcomings, and by the times you have fallen. But I want you to let my voice become louder than every other accusation. You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, as 1 Peter declares. That word is not only for people long ago in Scripture, it is being spoken over your life today. You are chosen not because you are more perfect than others. I called David when he was still only a shepherd boy, overlooked among his brothers. I called Matthew while he was still sitting at the tax collector's table and despised by society. I called Peter even though he once denied me in the darkness of night. Do you see, my child? My choosing is not based on human standards. I do not look at you only through your past or present limitations. I see what I can do through a heart willing to surrender to me. Therefore, do not allow insecurity to keep suffocating what I have planted within your soul. Every time you remind yourself that you are loved and chosen, you are rebuilding the foundation of faith and tearing down the lies that have held your mind captive for far too long. My beloved child, you must also understand that you carry an eternal purpose within you. You were not born merely to exist for a span of days and then disappear into forgetfulness. I have placed within you a calling that no one else can replace. There are people you will touch through the very story of your life. There are doors that will open only when you step forward. And there are souls who will rediscover hope when they witness the way I transform you. For we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works. As Ephesians says, declare, what I have prepared for you is not merely a temporary task upon this earth, but a journey through which the light of heaven will shine through your life. But my child, declarations alone cannot bear fruit unless they are joined with obedience. I do not want you merely to speak about faith. I want you to walk in that faith. There will be times when I place a clear prompting within your heart, a reminder that it is time to change something, to step out from an old place, or to release what is pulling your soul downward. Do not delay when I urge you forward. Remember Abraham. He did not wait until everything became easy to understand before leaving his homeland. He moved when I called, and it was that obedience that opened the way for an eternal covenant. You are the same, my beloved child. There are doors that will only open when you dare to step forward and surrender. Perhaps I am asking you to cut off a relationship that is slowly drawing your heart away from the light. Perhaps I am urging you to seek wisdom from someone who can guide you onto the right path. Perhaps I am opening a new opportunity before you, yet fear of failure is causing you to hesitate. But my child, timely obedience always carries blessings that delay can cause you to miss. The people of Israel once stood before the promised land, but because of fear, they did not dare enter immediately, and they wandered many more years in the wilderness. I do not want you to remain forever in the land of what if. Step forward when I call, even if your feet still tremble. I know it is not easy. I know there will be voices trying to pull you backward. The enemy will whisper that you are not capable, that you will fail as you did before, that you are unworthy of the good things I promised. People may look at you through the lens of your past and remind you of your failures to make you doubt yourself. Even old memories within your heart can become invisible chains dragging you back. But my beloved child, all those things have power, only if you agree to believe them. If God is for us, who can be against us? As Romans 8:31 declares, when you take hold of my hand, the voice of darkness will no longer be the voice that determines your life. Remember Joshua standing before the Jordan River. Before him was rushing water, and behind him stood all the people waiting. He could either remain in fear or step forward in trust. And when the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant dared to place their feet into the river, the waters opened. Many miracles in your life are the same. I am waiting for your step of obedience, not a step of perfection, but a step of trust. When you walk with me, even what seems impossible will move aside. My beloved child, do not allow the past to define your future anymore. I do not see you the way the world sees you. I see the person you will become when fully surrendered to me. I see the fire of hope being rekindled. I see new strength growing within you. I see old chains gradually losing their power. And I see a new path opening before you, a path of freedom, purpose, and light. Therefore, today, continue declaring the truth I have spoken over your life. Walk. Obey quickly when I guide you. Refuse to believe the lies that once kept you trapped in darkness. And then you will realize that what I have begun within you cannot be stopped by the enemy, by the words of others, or even by your own past. When you walk with me, hand in hand with me, you will see every promise gradually appear. My beloved child, do not think that the small acts of obedience you make today are insignificant. In the eyes of people, they may seem ordinary. But in the spiritual realm, every act of obedience is a seed. That seed may not immediately become a harvest before your eyes, but it is quietly taking root and growing beneath my hand. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. As Galatians says, I want you to understand that no obedience is ever wasted. Every time you choose light instead of darkness, forgiveness instead of bitterness, trust instead of fear, another chain begins to crack within your life. Remember the widow in the days of Elijah. She possessed only a handful of flour and a little oil left. Yet when she obeyed me through the prophet, that small offering became a miracle that sustained her throughout the famine. Do you see, my child? Miracles often begin with something very small, placed into my hands through trust. I do not demand that you possess everything today. I only ask you to remain faithful with what I am placing before you right now. When you offer me your last handful of flour through obedience, I will do far beyond what you imagine possible. My beloved child, the words you speak carry far greater power than you realize. There are people whose mouths are filled with disappointment, and gradually their souls become dry according to the very things they continually declare. But I am teaching you a different path. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. As Proverbs 18:21 declares, when you open your mouth and proclaim my promises, while circumstances still appear dark, you are sowing life into places once occupied by darkness. When you remind yourself that you are loved, chosen, and created with purpose in me, you are watering the seed of faith growing within your soul. Do not underestimate those declarations. They are not empty phrases meant merely to comfort yourself. They are your soul, agreeing with the truth of heaven. When Ezekiel stood in the valley of dry bones, I did not tell him to sit in despair. I commanded him to prophesy over those bones. And when he obeyed, what seemed dead began to live again. You are the same, my beloved child. There are places within your life that need to hear the voice of faith instead of the voice of despair. Speak life over the dreams once buried. Speak hope into the places once filled with fear. Declare light into the places where darkness once caused your heart to lose courage. But I also want you to remember that faith does not stop at words alone. True faith will always lead to action. There are people who ask me to open doors, yet when those doors open, they are afraid to step through them. There are people who say they believe, yet remain standing still because they fear failure. My child, this is the season in which I am calling you to rise and walk forward. When Peter heard me calling upon the sea, he could not simply remain in the boat, claiming he believed. He had to step onto the water. When the people of Israel stood before the Jordan River, the waters did not part until they placed their feet into the stream. Do you see, my beloved? Many miracles begin on the other side of obedience. Therefore, when the Holy Spirit prompts you to do something, do not delay for too long. If I tell you to release what is dragging your soul downward, let it go. If I open a new opportunity before you, Step forward courageously. If I urge you to pray more deeply, forgive more fully, or change an old way of living, respond quickly. Delay does not merely waste time. Many times it slowly cools the heart toward what I am doing. Today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your hearts, as Hebrews 3 declares. I desire your soul to remain soft and ready to follow my leading. My beloved child, I know there are times when your steps feel too small to create meaningful change. But look at the mustard seed. It is so tiny, it seems almost insignificant. Yet when it grows, it becomes a tree where the birds of the air find shelter. Your faith is the same. One sincere prayer, one act of obedience, one decision to forgive, one courageous step outside your comfort zone in my hands. All these things can become the beginning of a breakthrough greater than you ever imagined. And then you will begin to see the picture of your life changing day by day. Places that once looked hopeless will begin to reflect my goodness. Things that once filled you with despair will become testimonies of my faithfulness. The dark places within your soul will be filled with my light. Remember Jericho. The walls did not collapse on the first day. The people marched around the city, yet every step of obedience was preparing the way for the moment of breakthrough. In the same way, every act of faith you take today is shaking invisible strongholds within your life. My beloved child, this is the season in which I am calling you not only to hear my word, but to live it. Not merely to be moved for a fleeting moment, but to walk every day in my truth. Rise up with renewed courage. Open your mouth and declare what I have spoken over your life. Walk with quick obedience and a heart filled with trust. For when you walk with me, no power can stop what I have ordained for you. If God is for us, who can be against us? As Romans 8:31 declares. And as you continue sowing the small seeds of obedience today, the day will come when you will witness an entire harvest of spiritual victory opening before your eyes. Then you will understand that the smallest steps of faith were the very things that led you into the place where my light shines most brightly upon your life. My beloved child, do not let the weariness of the journey make you forget who you truly are in me. There are days when your legs tremble because you have walked too long through the wilderness, and nights when your mind becomes filled with voices of doubt until your soul feels ready to surrender. But I tell you today, you have not been removed from my plan. No failure is great enough to erase the calling I have placed upon your life. No dark season is powerful enough to extinguish the fire I have ignited within your soul. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion, as Philippians 1:6 declares. I have not stopped writing the story of your life, and the chapter ahead is brighter than what your eyes can currently see. My beloved child, I know there are times when you feel as though you are standing on the sidelines while others step into greater things. You look at your own limitations and wonder whether you are truly capable of what I have promised. But my child, I never called you to become a faint shadow within my eternal plan. I did not create you merely so others could pass through your life and forget your presence. I am shaping you into a pillar, a soul that stands firm in the midst of storms, a lamp still burning in the darkness so that many may find their way. The one who overcomes, I will make a pillar in the temple of my God, as Revelation 3:12 declares. What I am doing within you is neither small nor temporary. It carries the mark of eternity itself. I see clearly the mountains standing before you. I know there are battles that have left you exhausted, words that once shattered your heart, and wounds that still ache beneath the surface, though you have tried to hide them for so long. I do not overlook a single tear you have cried. When Elijah sat beneath the broom tree and asked to die, I did not condemn him for his weariness. I sent an angel with bread and water to restore him before continuing the journey. In the same way, my beloved child, I do not judge you for the moments when your heart grows weak. I understand the limits of the human body and mind, yet I also see what you sometimes forget. The strength I have placed within you is greater than what stands against you. That strength does not come from your own talent or experience. It is not built upon human perfection. It is the power of my Spirit living within you. When Gideon trembled in the winepress, he saw himself only as the weakest in his father's house. Yet I called him mighty warrior. When David stood before Goliath, the army saw an impossible giant, but David saw a God greater than every giant. You are the same, my child. If you look only at your limitations, you will always find reasons to fear. But if you look at me, you will realize that the resources of heaven stand behind every step of faith you take. I breathed life into you from the very beginning, and that breath has never lost its value. It is the mark that you belong to me. The Lord God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being, as written in Genesis 2-7. Therefore, do not call yourself worthless when I call you chosen. Do not call yourself weak when I am placing my power within the fragile clay vessel of your life. You may still tremble, but true courage is not the absence of fear. True courage is continuing to move forward while your hands still shake, because you know I am holding them. My beloved child, when you rise in faith, heaven does not remain still. There are battles taking place that your eyes cannot yet see. There are angels being sent because of the quiet prayers you have whispered. When Daniel fasted and prayed, the answer was released from the very first day, though spiritual warfare delayed its arrival. In the same way, do not mistake silence for inactivity. Things are already moving in the unseen realm to prepare what I have promised in the perfect time. When you open your mouth and speak hope, while circumstances are still dark, darkness itself trembles. Words spoken from faith carry the life of heaven within them. When you choose to keep walking, though your heart still bears wounds, you are defeating the enemy in the very place where it once believed it could destroy you. Remember Paul and Silas in the prison? Instead of surrendering to despair, they lifted songs of praise while still bound in chains. And in that dark night, the earth shook. The prison doors opened, and the chains fell away. Do you see, my child? Victory often does not begin when circumstances change. It begins when your soul decides it will no longer bow to darkness. My beloved child, I want you to stop seeing yourself through the lens of old failures. Your stumbles are not the final definition of your life. I am the one who restores what seemed lost forever. I turn ashes into beauty and sorrow into testimony. Even the places you once thought were weaknesses will become the places where my power is displayed most clearly. My power is made perfect in weakness, as written in 2 Corinthians 12:9. Therefore, do not be ashamed of your journey. The scars you carry will one day become evidence that I preserved you through storms that should have destroyed you. My courageous child, keep moving forward. Do not let the negative voices of the world make you forget the calling of heaven upon your life. Do not allow fear to keep you standing in places I have called you to leave behind. Lift up your head as one who belongs to the living God. Walk as one who knows heaven stands behind them. And you will see that the mountains which once terrified you will become the very places where you stand and testify of my faithfulness. The storms that once tried to drown you will become proof that my hand is strong enough to keep you standing, for I am not finished with your life yet. My beloved child, the most beautiful part is still ahead of you. My beloved child, I want your heart to widen enough to understand that this calling is not limited to a small group of people, nor reserved only for those who believe themselves more special than others. My heart has always been turned toward all nations, toward every soul wandering through this troubled and shifting world. I take no pleasure in seeing anyone live in darkness or despair. I do not desire for a single person to be left behind in this hour when I am awakening my people. Whoever has ears, let them hear what the Spirit says to the churches, as written in Revelation 2:7. That call does not echo only within temples or among those who think themselves strong in faith. It reaches even the weary hearts, the lost, and the souls who believe they have gone too far for me to notice them anymore. My beloved child, when I speak things that rise beyond familiar human understanding, do not quickly close your heart because of surprise or doubt. There are truths heaven reveals that will always exceed the limits of what the human mind can fully grasp. When Ezekiel saw the valley of dry bones come back to life, it surpassed natural logic. When Peter saw the surface of the water become solid beneath his feet, it defied every ordinary law he had known. Yet it is precisely where human strength reaches its limit that my power begins to reveal itself. My thoughts are not your thoughts, as written in Isaiah 55:8. Therefore, the astonishment you feel is not a sign to fear. It is a reminder that I am still the God who stands above every limitation of time and circumstance. I do not speak to plant confusion in your heart. I speak so your soul may stand firm amid the shaking taking place upon this earth. The world may tremble, and the things you once believed would last forever may change in a moment, but my word does not change. The grass withers and the flowers fall, but the word of our God endures forever, as written in Isaiah 40:8. When you cling to my promises, you become steady. Rain may fall, winds may blow, and floods may rise, yet your foundation will not collapse. I want this message to become a lamp in the darkness for you, so that even when uncertainty surrounds you, your soul will still know where it belongs. My child, prepare your heart. A wise soldier does not wait until war begins before searching for armor. In the same way, I am calling you to equip your soul today through prayer, through my word, and through spiritual watchfulness. Watch and pray, as written in Matthew 26-41. Storms may come upon the earth, but those who remain close to me will find refuge for their souls. At the same time, I want you to prepare, not with fear, but with expectancy and purity of heart. Remember the 10 virgins in the parable. What separated the wise from the foolish was not whether they knew the bridegroom would come, but whether they had oil prepared for their lamps. You as well, my beloved child, must keep the lamp of your soul filled with the oil of prayer, faith, and closeness with me. Do not allow the noise of the world to drain your lamp before the important hour arrives. And I want you to be patient. The sower does not dig up the soil every day to check whether the seed has begun to grow. He trusts the process of life. In the same way, the things I am planting within my people today will grow in the appointed time I have determined. Quiet restoration has already begun. Dry hearts will be refreshed again. Communities once divided will be healed. What I am preparing is not limited only to your personal life. It will spread. My beloved child, this is a calling that reaches beyond every border humanity has built. Before me, there is no nation greater or smaller, and no language is foreign to my ears. I am calling my children from every place back into unity through love and truth. When I poured out my Spirit on the day of Pentecost, people from many nations heard the same message spoken in their own languages. That was a sign that my heart has always been turned toward all peoples. I do not seek division. I am preparing a people who know how to love, support one another, and rise together as light in the midst of this darkened age. You may look at the world today and see brokenness everywhere, confusion spreading, and hearts wandering without direction. But my child, it is precisely in times like these that I am calling you not to live in fear. Let your soul awaken. Let your heart be renewed. Allow my light to search every hidden corner within you before I use you to bring light to others. I am preparing a new season, a season of rebuilding, healing, and restoration. Ruined walls will be raised again. Souls that were exhausted will receive new strength. Places once divided will see my love mend what was broken apart. And my beloved child, I want you to become part of what I am doing upon this earth, not through your own strength, but through surrender and love for me. Therefore, today, open your heart as wide as you can. Do not let fear cause you to shrink back from heaven's great calling. Rise as one who knows they belong to the light. Hold firmly to your faith. And remember this, though the world may change and everything around you may tremble, I am still the one seated upon the eternal throne, the one who guides you, protects you, and calls you into a new season of restoration and glory in me.